Hello, everybody. Welcome to this information session about Yale School of Management Master of Advanced Management Program. Thank you for connecting from wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. From here, good morning in New Haven. My name is Camila De Paz. I'm the Assistant Dean of Global Network Programs at Yale School of Management. I've been at Yale for 10 years already. And part of my portfolio is overseeing admissions for 2-degree programs. One is the Master of Advanced Management that we're presenting today, and the other one is the Master in Global Business and Society. I am here with 2 people from my team. Elena Heath, she is helping us in the back end. Thank you, Elena, so much. And she is going to be putting on the chat our virtual brochure, nothing that you will not find on our website, but in case you want to download it and kind of go through our brochure, thank you, Elena, for putting it there. I also want to encourage everybody to ask any questions on the Q&A. We will take questions at the end, so we will first go through our slides and then take questions at the end. But it's really, really important that you get your questions answered. So as we go through all the information that we have prepared for you, if questions come up, please put them on in the Q&A and we'll take them at the end. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Matt, who is our co-presenter today. So Matt, if you would like to introduce yourself, please.
Certainly. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a good start to your day, good end to the day. Hopefully it's been a good day for you if you're partway through. So I'm happy to be here. My name is Matthew Lassance. I'm the Assistant Director for Admissions and excited to talk a little bit more about the Master of Advanced Management program.
Thank you, Matt. So without further ado, let's start. So what is the Master of Advanced Management? Matt, if you could advance, there we go. So what is the MAM? The MAM is a 1-year degree program that is customized by you choosing the courses you want to take. So this is probably the first time in your academic journey where you have a say. You basically decide what is it that you want to study. So that is why it's so important that you have done the MBA prior to coming to the MAM. Why is that? Is because the core of the MBA is going to be key for you to succeed in the elective courses that you will be taking in the MAM. So while it's not a requirement that you do the 2 programs back to back, meaning that you finish your MBA and you come to the MAM, you have to be mindful that the core curriculum of the MBA is going to be important for you to succeed in the MAM. So you then decide, you know, when the best timing for you is, but this is important for you to know. You would join a community of purpose. We're a mission-driven school. I will talk about that in a couple of slides. And so we are one SOM. Our community is very strong and united around our mission. The program is not just what happens in the classroom, but it's a lot about what happens outside of the classroom. So life outside of class is very, very lively, and we have clubs, events, speakers, conferences. We will be talking more about this as well. And you will have a university network. It's not just Yale School of Management. It's not just our graduate school. It's also the whole network that you will be joining in a much broader university. So why should you consider the MAM? Because this is not a program for everybody. You are already doing a Master of Business Administration, or you have graduated recently from one. So you can very well go back to the workforce and don't have to continue your studies. This is a program for those that want to either go deeper in an area where they haven't had the opportunity during the MBA, let's say healthcare management, behavioral finance, customer insights. Those are things that you could go deeper at Yale SOM. We have a strong faculty, experts, and that is something that you want to kind of get a deep dive because you want professionally then continue in that route. Or you can go broader. You can go outside of management and take classes on things that you haven't done before that might be of personal or professional interest to you. So you can totally go and take classes at the School of the Environment if you really want to like get a deep dive there because you want to pursue some kind of professional career with management and sustainability in mind. Or you can go and take classes at the School of Architecture or the School of Engineering or even the law school. So really depends on what is it that you want to do. We know that the MBA is a general management program, so the MAM can complement that by getting deeper in a specific area or broader and go outside of what it would be considered management. You can also do both. You can take some depth and some breadth as well. So it's really what is it that you want from this program to take you to the next level in your career. I always advise students to take a class for yourself, like something that has nothing to do with your professional goals, but that really, really fulfills you. So that is like why you have like an art class that you can take, a drama class that you can take if you want to improve your public speaking, language classes, anything that really makes you feel fulfilled is also an opportunity with this program. So MBA plus MAM, what is it that you get? You get your year one school, MBA. We have here an example of the schools we recruit from, but of course this is not the whole list. Plus Yale School of Management in your MAM. And then at the end, you will have 2 degrees, 2 brands, 2 countries, 2 networks, and everything hopefully in 2 years. We do have some students who do a 2-year MBA and then come to us. So that would be 3 years. For the most part, is usually 2 years, 1-year MBA plus Yale SOM. With many schools, we also have concurrent degrees, most of the ones on this slide, meaning that you can take some classes in the MAM and they count towards credit in your year one school. But that's not with every school. You will have to check with us or with your year one school to see if they have a concurrent agreement with us. So here is when I talk about our mission. Our mission is to educate leaders for business and society. This is extremely important to us. Every single business school in the world educates leaders for business. We do it also for society. And this is going to be present not only in the curriculum, it's also going to be present in every extracurricular conferences that we have. Everybody at the school, from the dean all the way to the person that welcomes you at the front door, we know that we educate leaders for business and society. And so I'm already giving you a hint because this is something we're going to be looking carefully at during the admission process. You have to understand our mission and be aligned with it. And we're going to be looking how are you going to be helping us advancing this mission, not only during your time at SOM, but also during your professional years of career, like in the next 30 years. How are you going to help us make that impact in the world that we're trying to make? So as you craft your essays, as you conduct interview with us, please make sure that you touch on our mission statement, because this is something we're going to be looking at very carefully in the admission process. Okay, this is the slide where I like to talk to you about our portfolio of programs. Why am I talking about other degree programs apart from the Master of Advanced Management? It's because, again, we are a very tight community. So you are going to be interacting not only with your MAM fellow students, but with the students across campus. We are a fairly small school for a US school. I know that for some of you, you might say, oh, 1,000 students a year, that's a lot of students. But for a US school, this is fairly small. So this is a portfolio of programs and students you will be interacting with. The first one is the MBA. This is our flagship program. It's a 2-year traditional MBA. We have around 350 students per year, so around 700 students in this program. And this is a population you will be interacting with a lot, especially our second-year MBAs. You will be taking classes with our second-year MBAs. You will be recruiting with our second-year MBAs. So again, this is probably the program you are going to be closest to. Then we have our MBA for executives. This is a 2-year degree program as well, but they come to campus every other weekend. They work, so they are part-time students, and they come every other weekend. So this is probably the program with whom you're going to be interacting the least. They might join some of the clubs or conferences or a speaker series that you will be participating in, but you will not be sharing classes with them. Again, they come every other weekend, Fridays and Saturdays, and our residential programs attend classes Monday through Thursdays. So you don't have classes on Fridays. There's a lot going on Fridays. Our career development office uses Fridays to organize many events, again, club activities, conferences, but you will not be overlapping in class with our MBA for executives students. Then it's you, our Master of Advanced Management students. And then we have our family of Master in Management Studies programs. First of all, we have two very niche programs, Asset Management and Systemic Risk. Then we have our Global Business and Society program. Again, a concept very similar to the MAM, but this is for post-Master in Management students, so pre-experienced students. Then we have our Technology Management program. This is brand new, and is a program for engineers, recent graduates from engineering school. And then we have our Public Education Management. Again, very niche programs other than the Global Business and Society, which is a concept very similar to MAM. And then last, but definitely not least, we have our PhD students. You will be interacting with the PhD students because they will serve as faculty assistants in many of your classes. They will be taking office hours with you, and they will be helping you as you navigate your program. So you will also be interacting with them quite a lot. What is the curriculum like? I did mention, oh, you decide what to do. It's very flexible, but how does, actually materialize? How does look like for you? So there are only 2 required courses, Topics in Advanced Management for Business and Society. And then the second one is Global Leadership, Personal and Interpersonal Effectiveness. And those 2 courses are the equivalent to 4 units of credit. For you to get an idea, for us, a full semester course is 4 units, and half semester course is 2 units of credit. So basically, these 2 courses have 2 units each, meaning together they are like a 1 full semester course. You have to complete 40 units of credit to graduate. So that means that you have 36 units that are completely up to you. You decide what to do. You can take classes at the School of Management. We have over 170 elective courses that you can choose from. Or you can go outside of the School of Management and take classes at any of the other 12 professional schools or the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. Again, total freedom for you to decide what you want to take. Let me spend a little bit of time talking about the management science major, what it means and who should apply for this major. The first thing that I want to say is that if you want to pursue the management science major, STEM major, you have to declare it during your application process. And you're locked in. You cannot change your mind afterwards. So this is something that you have to carefully think as you are applying to the MAM. Why am I saying that you cannot change it later? Once we issue your I-20, which is basically the document to process your visa, we do have to include there whether you are declaring the STEM major or not. So the MAM is a general management program. So when you graduate, your degree will be MAM. There's no any specialization or concentration, nothing about STEM is going to show in your diploma. And the only reason to choose the management science major is if you would like to consider taking a job in the United States post-MAM that is STEM related. For those of you who are not familiar with how everything works in the United States, if you graduate from a degree in the US, you are eligible for something that is called OPT, Optional Practical Training. OPT means that you are eligible to stay in the United States for 1 additional year after your studies and work under your student visa. So you don't need to get a sponsored visa to work for 1 additional year. If you decide to pursue the management science major, that OPT, that 1 year after it's completed, you can apply for an extension of up to 2 more years. So meaning that you could potentially stay in the US for up to 3 years post your degree and work. There are a lot of ifs. So this is not a given to start with. First of all, you need to take, if you decide to pursue the management science major, you have to take classes that are STEM. 16 units would have to be STEM courses. There are 26 courses that are eligible for STEM. We have here some of the most popular, but this list is definitely not complete. It's just a sample. And so that means that you would only have 20 units of courses that would be completely free to you. I said that it's not a given and that there are a lot of ifs. So let me explain what am I saying this. Let's say that you decide to apply for the STEM science major, you do your program, you again take the 16 units of credit of STEM, so you have completed all the requirements for the STEM. Then the first if is that you need to get a job in the United States. For an international student, that is not a given. So you are going to try, but it's not a given. So that's the first thing that to benefit from OPT, you have to be thinking of. You need a job. Second of all, once you have completed the first year of OPT, you will ask for an extension, and that you have to submit an application that might get approved or might not get approved. Of course, the job has to be STEM related. It's not any job. So again, if you are not sure, I would definitely not apply for the management science major because nothing prevents you from taking as many STEM classes as you want without declaring the major. So the major is only for OPT purposes, but you can still take as many STEM classes as you want without declaring the major. And again, let me reinforce, nobody should apply to this program just hoping to stay in the US post the degree, because that is something that is unknown to us and to you. So many students want to do it. Some are successful, some are not. So if you apply to the program, it has to be because of the educational journey and because you really want to benefit from this amazing community and this amazing opportunity in terms of education for you, not just to then land a job in the US. So what does your schedule look like? And this is obviously an example, but we wanted to kind of put visually together an image that will show you how busy you are going to be. So you can see everything is color-coded. The first thing in purple is personal, and it's there, the first thing, because it's extremely important. We want you to keep your balance, and it's really, really important that you find time in your week for doing those things that are important to you, that help you be happy and control your level of stress, and that actually, you know, are good for you. So here we put yoga. It can be, in my case, would be running. It could be, I don't know, anything that makes you feel good. Then in purple, we also have lunch. We want to make sure you take care of yourself. You need to feed yourself and kind of have enough energy. And then there are also some social events, MAM dinner, go to a play at the repertory theater, or do whatever it is socially that it also is important to you. Then we have meetings. I mentioned before that you decide what classes you're going to take. So you're going to be having classes with people from different degrees. And so you're going to have different working groups. So you will have to make time in your week to meet with those different groups that you're a part of. Then we have classes in blue, and that's going to take a lot of your schedule as well. And then last but definitely not least, we have careers. You see that the careers are mostly on Fridays. I did mention before that Fridays we don't have classes, and that's the day they do a lot of stuff with careers. Something that I want to mention here is careers do a lot of programming with our MAM students before they even arrive on campus. So that means the summer prior. Our program starts in August, and we're going to be, I think the next slide or 2 slides from now, I'm going to put the schedule. It starts in mid-August, but our career development office started working with you since the beginning of July. So if you are, again, interested in trying to recruit in the US, you have to do a lot of work over the summer. And it's not enough that you start working on it once you arrive on campus. You have to start connecting with the CDO and working with them since July 1st. Why is this? Is because all the recruitment in the United States happens in the fall. So you will be recruiting with our second-year MBAs who have already been with us the year prior. So they are gonna be recruiting heavily in the fall, and you have to be brought up to speed so that once you arrive on campus, you're ready to go. You hit the ground running. If not, you're gonna be playing catch up, and that is gonna be against you. So again, if trying to recruit in the US is something you're interested in, you connect with our career development office, start working with them right away over the summer. And I know that you might still be working or have other commitments, but you do have to make time for this. It's important if you wanna have a chance to land a job during your year with us. Okay, so this is the academic calendar. This is the one for this year, but I think it's still helpful because next year the dates will be very similar. So this year we kicked off our program on August 12th. I believe that this coming year will be August 11th. And here's when we start with our orientation. It's mandatory, so everybody has to be on campus by this date. So please plan accordingly with your employers, your family members, your program. You do have to be mid-August, you have to be in New Haven, Connecticut, ready to go. Then we start with orientation, and right after classes start, and then we have our first fall break in October. So this year was October 14th to the 18th. Next year it will be very similar dates, and that is 1 week off. You can, do whatever you want, go anywhere you want, or just stay put in New Haven, or you can participate in a Global Network Week. That is something that I also oversee. So it's a 1 week module at one of our Global Network schools. It's like an elective type. It has a little bit of credit, and so it can count towards your degree as well. And we also give you a little bit of help within a stipend to help you pay for that trip. So it's a great option if you are interested in, and please come talk to us if this is something that you would like to learn more about. It's also on our website, but anyway, this is a great opportunity for this fall break. Then you come back and we start fall 2. Again, we have fall and spring, 2 semesters, and we always talk about fall 1, fall 2, spring 1, spring 2. So fall 2 starts, and then we go all the way to December where we have our winter break. The winter break, sorry, I'm going through the top of the calendar, not going to the bottom. Sorry so much. Okay, so we start in August. We have our orientation classes start at the end of August. Then we go all the way to fall 1. We have our break, October 14th to the 18th, as I was saying. Then you come back for fall 2. We have a little bit of a break for Thanksgiving. It's one of the most important holidays in the United States. And then you come back, and then until December when we have our winter break. You don't come back until January 13th. So that break is pretty long. And January 13th is when our spring classes, I don't know what they call it spring because it's winter, it's cold. But anyway, that's how we call it here. We call it spring. And that starts in mid-January. Then spring 1 kicks off. It goes until March. Then we have a 2-week break. You can also participate in a Global Network Week in the first week of this break. And then we come back, and then spring 2 starts, and commencement or graduation will be May, mid to late May. So again, the dates next year will be very similar to this. And I thought that putting like the academic calendar, it will give you a very good understanding of what the year looks like. Again, everything goes very fast. If you look at this, it's 9 months. So it's super important that as you decide to apply to the program, you really, really, really put a lot of thought in what classes do I want to take, what extracurriculars do I want to be a part of, like how I'm gonna be spending my time at Yale SOM. Because once you arrive, time flies by. And the worst thing that could happen is that you look back and say, I should not have taken that class. I should have not participated in that club. I should have done this instead. And then it'll be too late. So please spend time thinking carefully about how you want to craft your own curriculum and your own year with us. Okay, I'm gonna hand it over to Matt, who is gonna talk to you a little bit about our class, who is in this program, and then the fun part of the presentation, which is our extracurricular activities and clubs, and then he will wrap up with a little bit of information about our admission process, and then again, we will be taking questions. I wanna say thank you so much to those of you who have pre-submitted questions to us. I also have those available, so we will take live questions, but we might also be answering some of the questions you pre-submitted when you register. Matt, all yours.
Thanks, Camino. So let's talk a little bit about the class of 2025. This year's class is made up of 40 MBA graduates, and those students come from 24 different schools all around the globe, which I think is one of the unique features of this program. They average about 7 years of work experience with an average age of about 31 years old. One of the big ones this year is we're at 45% women, which I think as it's discussed every so often, as we get older and whatnot, it gets a little bit tougher to get back into sort of education and some of the educational journey. And so it's nice to see that we're at almost 50% now. One of the really cool things, 98% of our students are international passport holders. So this is a program that you do need to be on campus in New Haven, but not all of our students, you don't need a passport if you're a US citizen, but it's one of the cool facts about our global cohort. And one of the other great things, they come from 22 countries all around the world. So out of 40 students, they're coming from 22 countries all across the globe, which I think is just unbelievable to think about how global just this cohort is. Talking a little bit more about the community, there's a lot of different events, activities. There's always something going on at Yale SOM and across Yale. So kind of diving into it a little bit, we have some of our speaker series. Yale attracts people from all across the globe, all different sectors who want to come and talk to our students, faculty, staff. And they really talk about what are the present issues or what are the present day events in society. And I think it's really cool how they bring in people like Stella McCartney, who is a world-renowned fashion designer, to talk about, business and fashion. They'll talk about things with Janet Yellen, who's the Secretary of the Treasury, talk about some of the things going on in more of the economical side of things. And the list goes on, but it's really cool just the voices that come through and talk to our students, talk to our faculty, and want to talk about business and society. With that, we have a lot of different events on campus. So the Yale Harvard football game is a major one. I know many of you probably know our rivalry with Harvard is, very long standing. And this is a fun one. Every year the game goes back and forth between being hosted by Yale or Harvard. And it's one that our students really seem to enjoy getting out there, getting to support Yale. But it's also a really cool community event. I know I've gone in the past, and it's unbelievable to see how many students come out to see everybody there in their Yale gear. And it's actually really fun because I think you get to see kind of students, faculty, and staff just in their natural habitat, or kind of just as a normal person outside of SOM, which I think is a really cool piece to the community. With that, we also have events like Fempire, and that's a great opportunity to kind of get involved with a student-led conference that celebrates and empowers female leaders in business and society. And we've got a number of different events. This is just one of the big ones that was recently started. Yale conferences. In that picture, you can see the Yale Philanthropy Conference, and that's just one of the many conferences going on. We've got the Innovation Summit. We've got a number of different ones for entrepreneurs and others. The list goes on, and this is, of course, just at SOM. So as you get into more of the Yale University system in the community, there's even more conferences to kind of join or get involved with. Some of the other fun ones. So the SOM Talent Show, we have a lot of talented students, but we also have a lot of talented people. And it's really unbelievable to kind of get to see some of the talents that our students share. And we see some of these when we look at your resumes. I know sometimes people will put in that, they were a dancer or they've done, play guitar, things like that. But it's really cool to kind of see it, come to light or really shine at an event like this. And it's not just students. I think it's really fun too. You get to see some of the faculty and staff are also involved, and you'll see them whether they play in a band or, they do other things outside of, their office at work. It's a really fun event, definitely one I recommend attending. And then, of course, the Yale Club Fair. So SOM has over 50 clubs and organizations that you can get involved with. These may be, clubs like consulting club, tech club, VC, private equity clubs, professional clubs like that. We've also got some fun ones, ski and snow. So if you're interested or you're someone that is a part of, a skiing or snowboarding community, that's a great one to get involved with. I believe there is a food and beverage club and wine club. We've also got ice hockey. We've got rugby, soccer. And these are all clubs that, you don't need to have any experience or knowledge going into them. They're clubs that they want people to join, and you can join at sort of, I want to go all in and I want to be super competitive or learn all this, but you can also just come and have a good time, enjoy getting to know more people in the community. And I think it's a really cool opportunity. So definitely something I always recommend. Get involved with at least one professional club and one personal club. That's just going to be a fun time with people, and you're going to get to know more people in the community. With that, some of the great spots across Yale. So one of the big things when we talk to our students that they really enjoy is the opportunities to kind of see this historical campus in New Haven and really just explore it. Some of the different places, the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library. Last I checked, I believe there are over 1.5 million documents, manuscripts, rare books available or to kind of check out in that building. It's an unbelievable place. I tell everybody who says they're coming to campus or they're visiting New Haven, that's one of the places you have to go to and just spend a little bit of time in. Some of the other places across Yale, we've got the Yale Art Gallery, an unbelievable gallery. It's not just, some small time gallery. They've got, big names in there. Definitely one to check out. The Yale Farm is another great place to kind of check out. And this is one that Yale, does all of the, work on. They do everything there. So it's farm fresh, Yale Farm Fresh, if you will. Definitely another place to check out. Some of the other spots. So I'm going to talk a lot about libraries. I talk to a lot of students, and it seems like they have fun kind of exploring campus through the libraries and seeing all the different school libraries. Sterling Memorial, which actually the Yale Courtyard, the building in the back there is Sterling Memorial Library. It's an unbelievable library. It was modeled in sort of a Gothic architecture, which is just unbelievable. It's another great place to study and spend some time in, as well as the Yale Courtyard. Typically in the fall and I'll say late spring, you're going to really see a lot of students out there, whether it's having lunch, playing games, just kind of being students. It's an unbelievable spot to hang out and get to spend some more time in. If you need suggestions, there's definitely a lot of other things at Yale. The Peabody Museum is an unbelievable place. You can walk around and find so many activities, events, different things going on to check out. So if you're ever in the area, definitely reach out to us, let us know. We're happy to give you a tour of SOM, as well as kind of give some suggestions, whether it be things going on at Yale, things to check out in New Haven. Definitely let us know. So I know Camino touched on it a little bit, but let's dive into careers just a little bit more. So Yale SOM's career resources are fantastic. We have a great CDO department that really works with all the students. and treats them all the same. So just because you're an MAM student, you're not going to get treated differently from an MBA student or a GBS student, aside from the fact that maybe your interest is different than their interest. So what they do, they host, as Camino mentioned, a lot of different workshops, and these start in usually July of the year that you're planning on coming. They're going to start hosting workshops and start discussing with you your resume, your cover letter, interviewing skills. They're going to start asking you to think about sort of your story and your, telling your story, how you, go into an interview and talk about yourself. Then, as you get to campus, they kind of go through a boot camp during orientation, talk a little bit more. And then you kind of start diving into some of the more recruiting and things like that as you're on campus. One thing I will say from talking with a lot of students, do the work before you get here. So when you get here, you're able to dive right into more of the recruiting side of things. And they host one-on-one sessions. They host different workshops. You can dive into those and you're already prepared. So you're not having to kind of catch up to everybody else once you're here. With that, they host a lot of different on-campus recruiting events that are open to everyone. They do have an employment database. They're going to send out information to students each week to kind of talk about, what's going on, what opportunities there might be. They also have designated career support that you can reach out to, as I mentioned, sort of one-on-one opportunities to talk with someone in their department and kind of get a little bit more personal touch with them. So, and our students really tend to end up all across the globe. Some of the top industries in the past few years have been technology, government, consulting, finance, and they really do end up all across the globe. Some students end up in the US, some Europe, Africa, Asia, South America. It's unbelievable. And they're really going to world-renowned companies. As you can see there, some of the companies that we've had recently, BCG, McKinsey, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, world-renowned companies that, you're going to, have a great opportunity to connect with while here as well. So I want to talk briefly about sort of the pathways to Yale. So there are two different pathways. There is the standard pathway, which you've either completed your MBA or you're currently in your MBA program, and you're going to complete your application during that, send it to us. If admitted, you join us at Yale. There's also the M2M pathway, and this is a pathway we have with two of our partner schools, HEC Paris and UBC Sauder in British Columbia. And what you would do is you would fill out the application, and when you're applying to both programs. So instead of it being, in the middle of the program or after you've completed, it's before you've even started your MBA that you'll know, okay, I'm going to be doing this program at either HEC or UBC, and then coming to Yale. So you kind of know what the next, in this case, it'd be 2 years of your life are going to look like. Both pathways are, great and fit different, I'll say, cohorts of people. It's just something to think about if maybe you haven't even started your MBA, that is another opportunity to kind of look at. But of course, we're looking at the best and brightest from schools all across the globe. As you saw earlier, we've got students from 24 different MBA schools. So just the two different pathways for, how students might end up at Yale MAM. Now, I know this is one of the parts that a lot of people have questions on, so kind of dive into the application. So the application is currently open. Round one, which is exclusively for GNAM school students, and you can be a current student or an alumni, closed on January 8th. Rounds 2 and 3, which close on February 19th and April 9th, are open to students from all across the globe from any MBA school. So what does the application look like? So a couple different pieces to it. So we do ask for transcripts from any school that you've attended. So whether that be for an exchange, for you transferred from one school to another, undergraduate and MBA, we're asking for transcripts from all of those schools. We also want to see your most up-to-date resume. So update that, put in your most recent work experience and all of that stuff. With that, make sure that you, read some of the guidelines and whatnot. Put in, work experience that you're going to have proof for. So we do require proof of experience or proof of employment. So whether that be, an internship certificate or a work certificate, employment documents, pay stubs, something to show that, you have done this. There is a background verification once you've been admitted to the program. So it makes it easier as you go through that process. But we want to see your most up-to-date resume with all the great things you're doing. This is a great place as well. If you volunteer, do extracurriculars, you can add that in. We do require a GMAT or GRE test score. This is something that cannot be waived. We don't require TOEFL or anything else, but GMAT or GRE test score we do require. We have no preference of one over the other. Some people say, one felt a little bit easier for them over the other, but either one is acceptable to us. And there is no minimum score that we require. We want students to apply with your best score. We're hoping that you're putting forth your best application. And it's something that, as I kind of go through the rest of this, we're looking at the whole application. So yes, grades are important, test score is important. We are looking for the best and brightest, but we also want to see what you've done for work, what, volunteering, extracurriculars you've done. We want to understand your journey to SOM. Why do you want this program? How do you align with the mission? What are sort of your career goals and future goals? All of those things are going to help us really get a better picture of what you're hoping to do with Yale SOM's education. And it really goes a long way to kind of supporting, your grades and test scores and really kind of giving us the full picture of what you plan to do. We do require a letter of recommendation from a professional source, so a recent employer maybe, and a letter of support from the dean or director of your MBA program. As I mentioned, there are a couple essays. These essays are going to ask you about your career goals. Why do you want the MAM program? What about the MAM program is going to be helpful to you in your journey? Do some research. Talk to some of our admissions ambassadors that are on the website. They're happy to connect with you, talk a little bit about their experience, their journey so far. These are the things that when we read an application, we want to know a little bit more about, okay, what are you hoping to do here? Or what, at Yale is going to help you on your journey and hopefully help you be successful afterwards. You would pay the $95 application fee, and then you will receive 3 video questions. You don't need to prepare for these video questions. We like them to be, candid and just kind of see how you think and how you operate. It's a great opportunity. They're very fun questions usually that kind of ask about you and, your interests, your passions, things like that. And then, of course, an interview by invitation. You don't need to come to New Haven. We'll set it up via Zoom. So just to kind of give you kind of a quick and easy way to follow. So you would apply to the program. If you're accepted for an interview or invited to interview, you'll have a Zoom interview. We release decisions, and usually I believe it's 2 to 4 weeks after, if I'm not mistaken, is sort of the enrollment deadline. And then you would join us at Yale in mid-August. I believe it is the 11th, August 11th, this upcoming year, if you're thinking about joining us in the class of 2026. Talking about affording the MAM. So I know this is another big piece to it, so I want to touch on it. So a couple different things. So tuition and fees, you can see there the living expense as well. And this is based on sort of a rough estimate for living expenses and the 2025 figure for tuition and fees. I want to keep in mind living expenses can vary from person to person. It depends on if you're bringing partners, children. It depends on if you are comfortable living, more of a 1-bedroom apartment, or if you're looking to rent out a house. Depends on how often, maybe you cook at home versus going out to eat. All of those sorts of things will change that number. And so definitely something to kind of keep in mind as you're looking at that number and looking at your journey here. So when you apply, we're hoping you're putting forth your best application and submitting, all of your best materials to us. If you're admitted, you're automatically considered for merit-based scholarship with no additional documentation required. And typically that scholarship ranges from about $10,000 to $45,000. With that, we do have need-aware scholarships. So once you're admitted to the program, you receive a form. You would complete a little bit more information on sort of yourself and whatnot. And then financial aid will review that and kind of look at need-aware funding. On top of that, there are a couple other things. So on-campus employment is one of the opportunities. It's not going to, pay for the program, but it can help with, some of the costs, whether it be for food, coffee, things like that. There are also different scholarships, whether they be outside of Yale and kind of just be more general, or sometimes governments offer different scholarships. There's other scholarship opportunities. I'm not sure specifically if anybody's done Fulbright, but I know there are different scholarships similar to that. I would also recommend, as I said, check with your home country, because sometimes, there are educational scholarships and opportunities through the government. And then, of course, we do work with a few international student loan providers. We definitely recommend checking as well with sort of home loan providers, or your home country loan providers, just because sometimes the rates can be a little bit better. But we definitely work with every student to try and make sure that if you're admitted and you really want this opportunity, that it's an opportunity that you can take advantage of and hopefully join us here in New Haven. So definitely don't be shy. It's something, we try to work with every student on. So I want to touch on two upcoming events, especially if you're thinking about applying in round one. Hopefully you've already started working on your application. If not, you still have quite a bit of time. I think it's about a month and a half. Um, Definitely join us for our App Tips webinar on December 12th. It's a great opportunity to kind of talk a little bit more, learn a little bit more about the application, what we're looking for, get some tips. Even if you feel like your application is perfect, join us for that and really keep an open mind as you're listening. If you feel great afterwards and you feel like there's nothing you learned and your application can't be touched up, that's awesome. We want you to be confident in your application, but maybe you get a tip or you hear something, go back, review it. You still have about a month at that point to make any edits or changes. It gives you time to kind of get your application finalized or finished up and ready for our June 6th deadline. We also have a Q&A session. So maybe, if you come to the App Tips webinar and then as you're working on your application, you have some questions, come back, join us again for that, ask some questions. We want to help you as much as we can and answer as many questions as we can for you. We're also going to continue to do these. So if you're in rounds 2 or 3, we'll have another App Tips webinar in, I believe it's going to be mid-January and mid to late March. We're finalizing the dates. And we're going to have Q&A sessions in January, February, and March as well. So definitely join us for some of those. And then I also want to talk about, we just recently launched this, super exciting for us. So MAM Admissions Unplugged is our new podcast, which you can find on Apple, Spotify, and your favorite podcast platform. It's a great place to kind of hear a little bit more from our admissions team about the application, what we're looking for in applicants. We're working on having students as well. So we've had, I believe, an alumni and a few students on the podcast. And we're continuing to hopefully bring them in and share kind of their experience, their journey, share their knowledge as students in the program right now with people, that are looking at the program or may want to join it. So definitely a great spot to, take a listen and hopefully give us 5 stars afterwards. It's a great podcast. We're going to continue to add, and I think we've got about 6 or 7 episodes already up. So definitely check it out and subscribe. And then I want to thank you all for joining us. We'll try to get to some of your questions right now. If you want to learn more, check out our website via the QR code. Or if you have questions, definitely send us an email at advanced.management@yale.edu. And we'll open up the floor for questions now.
Okay, so we got quite a few questions and we have 11 minutes left. So we're going to go through them and provide you with quick answers. So Mikia wants to know when should they apply? Do they really need to already be a student at one of the Global Network schools, or can they apply simultaneously to some network schools and then Yale? I think you already answered this question, but maybe it was not clear enough.
So if you haven't started your MBA program yet and you are working on applying to that, HEC Paris and UBC Sauder, we have partnerships with that you could apply for their program as well as our program before you've even started the MBA. If you're about to start your MBA program, depending on if it's a 1 or a 2-year program, if it's a 1-year program, then let's say, well, you'd probably be in it. But, if it's a 1-year program, you can definitely apply now. If it's a 2-year program where you still have another year, then I would say wait until next year to apply, because typically we want you to apply in the year that you're planning on joining us. And it gives you an opportunity to kind of showcase a little bit more of your academic history. If you do any internships or anything else like that, definitely, send us that information and let us know.
Perfect. Thank you, Matt. Are there TARA opportunities to MAM students? The answer is yes. Once you're on campus, you're eligible to work for 10 hours a week. So yes, you can. What's the average GMAT score? We don't give average or minimum scores. Our process is holistic. Matt already spoke about that. And can someone with a PGDM also apply? I believe this is equivalent to an MBA in Indian business schools. So I would say yes, but please, if you could write to us directly and kind of give us a little bit more of information about the program you've done, I think we'll be able to look into it and get back to you. Okay, Matt. Somebody has completed an MBA in 2016, have since then been working in consulting and product. Can they, they're looking to refresh knowledge. Would they be eligible to apply?
Absolutely. And I'm seeing here, it looks like 12 and a half years of experience. So there is, no sort of maximum on that. Typically, we want to make sure that the MBA education is still, fresh in your brain, but you can absolutely apply at that point. I think it's great to kind of refresh, add a little bit more knowledge. The big thing I would say is take a look at some of the courses, talk to some of our admissions ambassadors, find out a little bit more about what you feel like is going to help either refresh your knowledge or what knowledge you're going to gain through the program. And then you can add that and talk about that in the application as you look to kind of take that next step in your career.
Thank you. There's a question, do you accept GMAT executive assessment? We don't. It has to be the GMAT or the GRE, no executive assessment. Okay, there is a question about our 3 short essays of somebody that is not applying this year, so they cannot access that information. I strongly suggest you to attend our application tips webinar. We're gonna be talking at length there, but to give you like a very quick answer for this year, we have 3 short essays. The first one is basically why the MAM and why Yale SOM. The second one is about excellence. How do you define excellence and how have you tried to achieve excellence in your life? And the third one is about your future career goals. That is for this year. We change them slightly every year, but the one about the why MAM is usually consistent. So hopefully that is helpful. Okay. Next one is about scholarships. So everybody is considered for merit scholarships, and they ask what percentage of students receive the maximum merit scholarship. Well, that really depends every year on the pool of candidates that we have. So it's not a percentage, it's depending on how strong the candidates are. And what do you think, Matt, are the top 3 factors that contribute to being awarded the highest scholarship?
So obviously we do look at, your grades and your test score. We are, that's sort of a easy one to start with. I would say with that, what experience, volunteering, things like that, what have you done that might be merit worthy? And then I think that's where is it? We kind of talk about a couple of different pieces here. And I think it's also a little bit of, so transcripts, test score, and I would say, what have you done professionally or volunteering, extracurriculars, those sorts of things. We're looking for opportunities to give merit scholarship. So definitely add that sort of stuff to your application. If you think it's merit worthy, put it on there. We're going to review it all. But I would say those would probably be the 3 big ones.
Thank you. We have somebody here who's interested in becoming a professor at the business school. So yeah, this is not the route. You should then pursue a PhD. The MBA plus the MAM is meant to then, for the most part, work in industry, not becoming a professor. Okay. how do employers look at the MAM program when it comes to job opportunities and the kind of roles being offered? Are the roles offered by them similar in nature in compensation to the ones they do for the MBAs or not? The answer here is yes. Don't forget that you are an MBA yourself. So you will be recruiting with our second-year MBAs, and recruiters don't make any distinction. They basically treat the pool all together. You already have an MBA, and would be an additional degree. So in a way, you would potentially be better positioned because of your international background and because of the 2 degrees that you have already. Okay, what else? Do you have a focus on governance? That is an area that somebody's interested in. Matt, can you take this one?
Yeah, so this is one of the great things about the program. I think Camino mentioned it early on, sort of the depth and breadth of the curriculum. And I believe, let me just go back here. Government is one of the top industries that our students tend to go into, or has been recently. So you can definitely dive into sort of global affairs at the Jackson School for Global Affairs. Obviously, SOM has some great courses talking about business and government and whatnot. So there are opportunities to dive down that rabbit hole a little bit further. If it's something you're looking just to get a little bit more general information on, you can absolutely take a few classes in that as well. So definitely something, again, I would say check out on our website. You can see the curriculum and you can kind of check out some of the courses currently being offered. With the flexibility of the program, you can take courses across Yale. So check out some of the opportunities for government or governance related courses across campus.
Thank you, Matt. Does the MAM allow you to qualify as a Yale alum? Yes, absolutely yes. You would be a Yale graduate and you will be one of our alumni. Okay, somebody who has done a 2-year MMS, you do not qualify for this program. You do have to have an MBA. If you have done an MMS, you qualify for the Master in Global Business and Society. So I strongly recommend you to attend an info session on the GBS because that would be the right program for you. Okay, what else do we have here that we haven't answered yet?
I'm seeing a quick thing. If you aren't able to log into your application portal, definitely send us an email. We can try and figure out what's going on and help you get logged in.
Yeah, I think that person, what happened is that it's not planning to apply this year, but in the future.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, if anybody else is having any issues, definitely let us know and we can try and work on getting you access.
Okay, I think that is pretty much all. We're very grateful for your time. We really, we know you're very busy. And so, we really appreciate you taking the time to meet with Ahmad and I today. Again, any additional questions? I see some personal questions in the Q&A that I don't think we should be answering live, but if you have personal questions, please write to us, advanced.management@Yale.edu. We'll take care of all your questions there. Stay tuned. We are very excited about starting our application process this year and getting amazing applications. So you can definitely be one of our students next year or in the years to come. So please do not take any fear about this program. Give it your best shot because not applying is clearly not going to get into the program. So you have to apply and see what happens. Thank you again and have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.